Warning, this podcast does not introduce any new information outside the Foundation's curriculum. Listener discretion is advised.
Hey there, friends and curious minds tuning in. Welcome to the first episode of Real Doctors, Real Friends of this season. This podcast takes you on a behind-the-scenes tour of the world of medicine, one episode at a time. My name is Samadi, and I'm your friendly second-year medical student at the University of Alberta, and I'm here trying to juggle late-night classes, study sessions, shadowing, and occasionally getting a full night's sleep. Whether you're just starting your pre-med journey, already knee-deep in med school chaos, or simply fascinated by the mysteries of healthcare, you've landed in the right place. We're thrilled to be the first official podcast affiliated with the Faculty of Medicine and Dentistry in Canada, and we're here at the University of Alberta in Edmonton, Alberta. Our goal is pretty simple. To create a space where we can explore the most pertinent topics of healthcare. So whether you're a current medical student, a hopeful pre-med, or just someone that's curious about the field, this podcast is for you. And let's be honest, staying up to date with healthcare news is more about just cramming for the MMI or prepping for exams when they come up. But it's about understanding the evolving landscape of medicine and how it actually affects our school as physicians, patients, students, or even just citizens of the world. Plus, for you pre-meds out there, this could be a really great way to prepare for those big interviews that are coming up by diving into real-world topics that matter. So sit back, relax, and let's make this educational journey a bit more fun and a lot less intimidating.
Absolutely, Sana. It's a unique blend of student perspectives and insights, making it a dynamic and engaging resource for anyone interested in the field. I'm Dr. Roshan Abraham, a family physician here in Edmonton. I've been the coordinator or co-coordinator for the Foundations block at the U of A for a couple of years now, which is the introductory course for the MD program. And I love helping students navigate their medical journey. This podcast just isn't about textbooks and exams. It's about understanding the bigger picture of healthcare. From policy to patient care, we're here to discuss it all with a dash of humor to keep things light.
Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Shireen Hamza, an integrative physiologist and assistant teaching professor in the Department of Physiology in the Faculty of Medicine and Dentistry. This week has been all about preparing for this episode and engaging with students, which is always a highlight for us. We've been diving into the first week of medical school and doing an orientation to prep our first-year medical students here at the U of A. We're all about mixing the serious with the fun, and we can't wait to get started.
That's right, Shireen, and that's what kind of makes this podcast special. It's not for those that are just already in the trenches of medical school, but for those curious about what it's like, or maybe they're thinking about applying. So our episodes align with the Foundations block of the first year curriculum at the U of A, but we're kind of putting a spin on it by connecting these academic themes with real world issues so that it's applicable to everyone, as well as the students here. And we're here to bridge that gap and just make these complex topics more accessible, more relatable, and just to be real people. Plus, we'll throw some laughs along the way because let's face it, medicine can be intense, but we can make it fun.
Exactly. And with that in mind, let's give our listeners a sneak peek as to what they can expect this season. We're going to tackle everything from admissions to social accountability of medical school, rural healthcare, and the ever controversial role of social media in medicine. It's going to be an exciting journey full of knowledge, surprises, and maybe even a few, let's call them friendly debates.
Or we can even call them intellectual wrestling matches. But seriously, each episode will feature us along with a special guest or two or maybe three who brings their expertise and unique perspective to the table. We're talking real, unfiltered insights that you won't get anywhere else.
Absolutely. We're going to have an episode even on admission and talk to a couple of medical students there that come from different paths. So we're going to break down about how we got into medical school and just our perspectives there. As a medical student myself, I will also provide some input there and hear from the two doctors here today and hear their take.
And that's a gold mine for, really anyone considering medicine in the mix of trying to apply for it currently. I mean, remember the stress of admissions? I do.
Oh, yeah.
And it's almost 2 decades ago, close to, if I'm not aging myself too much. It's like trying to find parking at a concert. Everyone's anxious and someone's bound to cry.
But everybody finds a spot eventually. So it is like a high stakes game show, but instead of $1 million, the prize is a stethoscope and a lifetime of caffeine dependence. So we'll hear the inside scoop on different paths to medicine, and some maybe tips and tricks, and also some insights about what people are looking forward to now that they have begun their program. It's more than just grades and MCAT scores. People are looking for future doctors who can handle the pressure and keep their cool. And certainly our classes year after year show us that definitely we're up to the challenge.
Oh, yeah. And just speaking about different paths, one of our episodes later will be the Grand Prairie campus, where we're going to be joined by Dr. Daryl Rolfson. He's the Associate Dean of Medicine, and he's been touring around Alberta this summer, and we're going to hear a couple about his experiences, the unique challenges in rural healthcare, and hopefully get to hear a couple stories about what it's like on the road. And just as a student here, seeing the impact of healthcare in these areas are eye-opening, and maybe even something that people are considering, and even not. It's important for everybody to have some understanding of rural healthcare and the unique challenges that they have as just somebody who lives in Canada.
And it's not just about the clinical skills, it's about understanding the community, building relationships, and learning to adapt to different healthcare environments. This episode is perfect for anyone interested in rural medicine and the diverse opportunities it offers.
Later this season, we'll explore the primary care crisis and the role of longitudinal clinical experiences, or LCE, as we like to call it, which inspires students to pursue careers in primary care. Our guest, Dr. Dave Pickle, the Longitudinal Clinical Experience Coordinator, will share insights into how these experiences shape career paths and highlight the importance of hands-on learning. LCEs are a cornerstone of the medical curriculum, providing a glimpse into the real world of primary care.
Yeah, just as of recently finishing my first year of medical school, I just remember being thrown into LCE, and it was really just another abbreviation that they throw at you. And there's just so many of them. I had no idea what was going on, both in school and just in medicine. I felt like I was just coming straight off, like a random citizen on the street was being thrown on there into the physician's office and being told to take patient history. So it was really an eye opener and just a great way to see the realities of primary care up close, and both the challenges, but also the rewards that come being a primary care physician. And while I could honestly offer absolutely nothing useful to them at that point, having known nothing, but it was a really good chance to see the good, the bad, and just really the downright messy of healthcare, as well as working with some pretty cool physicians.
Oh man, talk about acronyms, right, Shireen? Mm-hmm. That's been
where are we at creating that dictionary of acronyms? We need to get on that.
Yeah, actually, I think medical education as a whole needs to get on that. Yeah. So it's not just about learning how to treat coughs and colds. It's about understanding the broader picture, like managing chronic conditions and building long-term patient relationships. It's like being the Sherlock Holmes of healthcare, solving mysteries one symptom at a time.
And let's not forget the impact it has on our understanding of healthcare systems. It's about seeing the forest and the trees, right?
Yeah. And this season, we'll also tackle accessibility in medicine and medical education. We'll discuss the barriers faced by marginalized communities and explore ways to improve access to both healthcare and medical education. Dr. Franco Rizzuti will join us to shed light on ongoing efforts to ensure equity and fairness in these crucial areas. It's a vital conversation that touches on the ethics of our profession and the importance of making healthcare accessible to all.
Absolutely. So Dr. Rizzuti is going to help us dive into just kind of the nuts and bolts of what does accessibility actually mean. It's not really just a buzzword or something that you say in your MMIs. It's something really important that we all need to have a good understanding about. It's not just ramps and elevators. It's about creating an environment where everyone feels welcome and cared for. And as future healthcare providers, patients, or just citizens of the world, it's really crucial for us to understand and advocate for these principles.
Absolutely. This episode will really open our eyes to the various types of barriers that exist, many of which we don't even think about or don't even notice, and how we can work together to dismantle them. It's a call to action for everyone.
I agree. Midway through this season of RDRF, we shift our focus to the role of prescribing pharmacists in primary care and the reality of interprofessional education, or IPE. Dr. Ravina Sangera will join us to discuss the growing importance of pharmacists in the healthcare team and how effective collaboration can lead to better patient outcomes.
Yes, it's all about breaking down those silos. Pharmacists aren't just the people who hand you your prescriptions. They are an integral part of the healthcare team.
Yeah, and she's actually a very interesting guest, and she's actually going to bring in, as well as in addition to her, it's going to be a little bit of a panel where we're going to get some insights. She's involved with a bit of dermatology, so she's going to talk about equity in dermatology specifically. Cool. Oh, yeah. Something that we've been recently thinking about, just dermatology and color in our textbooks. Why don't we see people with darker shades of skin? How does psoriasis look on someone? Whereas traditionally that hasn't been done. So she's a very, very interesting woman who's doing some cool things. So we're going to get into just pharmacy and how that's an essential part of the healthcare puzzle, as well as how they can work with physicians and some tips there, as well as this dermatology equity aspect of it. So it's kind of like being on like a well-coordinated sports team. Everybody has to play their crucial role. The healthcare system, we got pharmacists, we have physicians, we have dentists, we have a whole bunch of people who need to know how to work together.
Yeah. Later on this fall, we'll explore national coverage for birth control and its broader implications for primary care with our guest from the Department of Family Medicine and one of my close colleagues, Dr. Sonia Kostov. She'll walk us through the policy challenges and current efforts to improve reproductive health care. We'll also dive into some controversial debates around this topic and what they mean for patients and providers alike.
Oh, yeah. And Sonia's got a wealth of knowledge on this topic. It's really essential conversation, especially when you're considering the varying access to reproductive health care across Canada. And that's just something that's ever changing, even with recent news. So we'll be diving into the nitty gritty of how these national policies shape individual experiences.
And let's not forget the importance of patient autonomy in these discussions. It's about giving people the information and options they need to make the best decisions for themselves.
This season, we will also spotlight virtual care and rural billing. The COVID-19 pandemic has accelerated the adoption of virtual care, especially in rural areas. We'll explore the challenges and opportunities this shift presents with insights from one of my classmates, actually, Dr. Kevin Yang.
Cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, so virtual care is kind of really like the Uber of healthcare. It's bringing the doctor to you without kind of that waiting room hassle, but it doesn't come with its downsides as well. So this really is a brave new world, and we're here to help you navigate it and understand it a little bit better, get some different perspectives.
We'll also touch on the nuances for billing for virtual services. It's not as simple as just clicking join meeting. There are a lot of behind the scenes complexities that affect both providers and patients.
Exactly. And understanding these nuances is crucial for anyone involved in the healthcare system, from providers to patients.
Oh, yeah. And one of our later episodes, one of the ones I'm very excited about as Gen Z addicted to TikTok, is the impact of social media on medicine. So things sometimes do take some time to evolve and come into the healthcare landscape. So we're going to cover some really interesting topics there. So from vaccine misinformation to really trending topics like Ozempic. We're going to have our guest, Dr. Stephanie Liu, who's going to discuss social media influences public perception and behavior in healthcare. So it really is a double-edged sword, and we're going to explore both its potential and pitfalls.
Definitely. Social media can be a wild west of information. It's like the world's biggest game of telephone, where sometimes the message gets a little twisted. I love that reference.
A little twisted, but yeah. As healthcare professionals, it's our job to untangle those twists and provide clear, accurate information. This episode is a must listen for anyone who's ever Googled their symptoms. I mean, who hasn't
me
at this
too,
point, right?
Right?
So it's everyone.
Yeah. And as we head into the home stretch of this season, we're going to tackle the ER crisis and respiratory virus season. We're going to have, we already see emergency rooms just under immense pressure, especially during peak seasons, flu seasons, just when we're spending more time indoors, when we're getting those kids going to kindergarten and coughing on each other and everything around them. So Dr. Shazma Mathani is actually who's an ER doctor, is going to share her frontline experiences and provide us with some really meaningful insights on how to manage the challenges around that. And it's really just an episode that's packed with a lot of real life drama and just practical advice for anyone that's interested in emergency medicine, kind of getting a behind the scenes look there.
Oh my God, I'm getting some minor PTSD when you're talking about kindergarten with both my kids under the age of 4. It's just like a constant carousal of viral infections in my house. So it is like a medical thriller, but without the Hollywood glam. The reality of the ER is intense, and understanding what goes on behind the scenes can be eye-opening.
Sometimes it's not even about the big dramatic cases. It's about the everyday challenges and the systemic issues that lead to these crises. And we delve into all of that.
So we're also going to shine a light on supervised consumption sites in Alberta and prairies. We'll talk about first, what are they, where are they, and how are these services evolving to meet the diverse needs of patients, with kind of a focus on innovative solutions and future directions of where this is going in Canada.
I'm actually really excited to have yet another colleague, Dr. Janetta Salvalaggio, who is actually one of our co-directors for the research portion of the Department of Family Medicine. And she will guide us through these complex issues, shedding light on really the overall change that's happening within our landscape around a supervised consumption site. So I'm actually really excited about that.
Later on, we'll also confront the critical issue of anti-racism in medicine. We'll discuss strategies for creating a more inclusive and equitable healthcare environment, ensuring that all patients receive fair and unbiased care. Dr. Eniola Salami will join us to discuss these important topics and share practical steps for improvement. It's a crucial conversation that's more relevant than ever.
And it really is a big conversation. It's not just about acknowledging the problem. It's about actively working towards solutions and making sure our healthcare system is a place of equality and fairness for all.
It's challenging. So these are really difficult conversations, but we need to have these conversations. We'll tackle the tough questions and explore ways to make tangible changes and things that we can do every day that really don't require a ton of effort either.
Yeah, and as we're gearing up to kind of wrap this season, we're going to be talking about something that anyone who's nosy will love: remuneration billing. We'll talk about healthcare systems, fee-for-service systems, and we actually have a great guest on there who would know lots about this, Dr. Paul Parks, who's the president of the Alberta Medical Association, the AMA, and he's going to provide some expert insights into just the financial landscape of healthcare in Alberta. How does it actually work, and kind of give us an insider look into that. So this is really a must listen for anyone who's interested in understanding really the economic aspects of healthcare delivery. And we're going to break down some complex topics and discuss what does the future hold for healthcare professionals as well as patients and just citizens.
Definitely peeling back the curtain on the financial side of healthcare, which I think a lot of students will appreciate, including residents, actually. There's so much that goes into keeping the system running, and understanding it is key for anyone in the field.
It's not only about the numbers, it's about the policies and practices that shape the entire healthcare experience. So we'll be doing a deep dive into all of it later this season.
That's right, Shireen. And actually, in this season, we have an extra episode with an extra special guest, Dr. Peter McCaff. He is a physician who is in pediatric urology, and he's going to be talking about testicular torsion. What is it? Why is it important? And what can we do about it? So this is going to be a really interesting discussion about bringing certain sex ed topics into schools. So healthcare doesn't just stop at hospitals and clinics. It needs to be brought into real life. It needs to be brought and educated at younger school age so that people know, how can you actually tell when you are sick? What is normal? What is not normal? So he's going to give us a little bit of an insight on that. And as we kind of wrap up this introduction episode where we're kind of letting you know everything we're going to talk about, we're going to lead to today's what we call here on RDRF, the friendship question. So this is going to be more of a fun aspect of the podcast where with every single guest and including us today, we're going to have just a cute little question at the end that all of our hosts and our guests here are going to answer. So the question that we have for today is you have to create a business and you have $10 million to do it in this economy. I don't know how far that's going to go with starting a business, but a lot of money though. But you have to say something non-med related because I know we're keeners, but we have to kind of step off that. Mm-hmm. What are we going to do? Be creative. I'd love to hear what you guys kind of come up with here.
For a business.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Why don't I start with this? This is the reason I just wanted to have airtime to talk about this.
I was wondering why the topic was picked. Go for it.
Yes. I was actually listening to a podcast the other day and I was saying any question that someone asks you, it's because they want to be asked the same question. It was psychology. And I was like, you know what? That's absolutely right. Yeah. So, me picking these questions is fun for me, but essentially this is actually my partner's idea and I'm going to plagiarize it.
Okay.
But, his idea is called the Daily Bread. So he loves gingerbread houses and he thinks that gingerbread houses shouldn't just stop at Christmas. Rather, we should have a gingerbread house for Valentine's Day, a gingerbread house for St. Patrick's Day, a gingerbread house for all holidays, really, is what we're getting at here. And he wants to create a bakery that has all these. I don't know who this is going to be appealing to other than himself.
The ginger snap lovers.
Oh, yeah.
I think we'll jump on this. And I can see this being a very lucrative business. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think I won't say everybody. A lot of people like ginger snaps and gingerbread.
You know, the more I think about it, the more I think as a niche, you could actually, this could actually have some legs. Like
let's not give him hope. He's listening today. He needs to keep his day job. I'm a student. I have no money.
No, but it's actually like, think about it, right? Like they're very specific. You'll have certain peaks during the year, which these will be used. And definitely Christmas is going to be the biggest one.
Oh yeah.
But you could encourage creativity in the population and in your customer population.
But I mean, you could even expand. You could do birthday gingerbread.
No, this is just it.
You could do wedding gingerbread.
Yeah.
You could do celebration gingerbread.
If he brings a gingerbread to our wedding, I'm leaving.
So where does this love of gingerbread houses come for him? Like, is there
just, I don't know. He's a 29-year-old man. He really should be over this stage, but
I think you should set up an Instagram page and document it through your own podcast.
Oh yeah,
about how he loves gingerbread houses.
Yeah,
because it's a very niche thing.
Yeah,
I've never seen that before, and I think that's what's important with a business idea.
Exactly.
You do need something that's niche that not a lot of other people have done.
And there must be a need, right? There must be people out there craving gingerbread houses that are just out of luck, and maybe they're stocking up around Christmas
and you
time.
can't really get them now. I was looking and same with cream eggs. I was really craving a cream egg the other day and they weren't available
true.
and I was very upset. Yes. So maybe that can be a side business that you guys start beside us. Yeah. But what about you two? Other than the Daily Bread, I know it's hard to top it.
Okay. I have two ideas.
Okay.
So if it's non-med related, can it still be education related?
Okay, cheating a little bit, but I'll allow it.
Well, okay. So the first one will be a cheat, and the second one will be totally unrelated.
I love it.
I'll share both ideas. Just so you know, it's good to have a backup. Mm-hmm. So for the first one, I think I'm gonna ask Roshan to partner with me in this one to create some kind of opportunity or platform or school that's open access to everybody worldwide, and we can teach everything. So this is where it's not only med related. So we can teach some med stuff. We can bring in colleagues from all different fields, and then it's education for people that want to engage, but for whatever reason they can't or they're not able to. They it could be financial, it could be due to location, it could be due to other obligations in their lives, but just to give everybody an equal opportunity to educate themselves and contribute.
That's a dream business idea.
That would be awesome. So I think I would ask you to be my partner in that. And the other idea is, which you can be my partner in that too if you want to. So I used to really love this show on TV called What Not to Wear.
Mhm.
Does anybody remember?
Yeah. On TLC?
Yes.
Yeah.
On TLC.
I love that show. I grew up with it.
That show was awesome.
So it's awesome. And I learned a lot from Stacy. And I forgot the other host's name. It's hard to remember those. But I really learned a lot from that show. And I would create a business where we would essentially do that. And it doesn't necessarily have to be public, but we could go in, we could assess somebody's closet, assess their style, see what their aspirations are, what they need or what changes they would like to do. And we would shop for them and give them a makeover and hopefully help them sustain that in the long run. So that would be my idea for a second business.
Yeah. For those of you, nobody can see her, but she's wearing a beautiful outfit here. She has a nice pink blouse on with a matching pink watch. And I think that's influenced you for sure.
Yeah. I learned a lot from them.
Oh, yeah.
So my business ideas are both food related and they all involve sandwiches.
Okay.
One is cheating because it involves medicine. So I'm just gonna say it and get out of the way.
Medicine and sandwiches.
I've always wanted to create a clinic where we had a kitchen attached to it. So cafe, kitchen of some kind for the social connection with our patients, building of community, but also on how to teach people about nutrition. And we actually have, we don't have him on the podcast this year, but maybe next year, Dr. Chris Koo, who is a really famous family physician here in Edmonton and who was on the Great Canadian Bake Off, I believe.
Awesome.
Cool.
Oh yeah, he made it to second place. I hope I'm not
hoping
I'm not spoiling it for anybody. Oh boy,
you're gonna get
sorry,
sued,
Chris.
yeah.
Oh boy. No. I mean, it's done. The episodes are out, but if I ruined it for whatever last season, I mean, he's incredible. He's an integral part of our department as well. And I've always wondered if I could partner with somebody. I really enjoy making sandwiches specifically. So like a sandwich shop or something small for people to be able to learn about. And so that kind of influences my non-med idea, which would just be a sandwich shop. And specifically with a focus on community outreach and actually providing food to organizations and people that need it with as much variety as my business can allow. And I think that's where a lot of the money would go towards because the way that you can make it cheap and streamlined is if you sell it to the masses, which is sort of the North American palette. But we have a multicultural community here in Edmonton and across Canada. So it's not just sandwiches, but any sort of wraps or
shawarma.
Right? My favorite. Right? Like, I think for me, that would be a dream business.
I'll be a sandwich artist for you.
Great.
Yeah,
I was going to say you should be there.
I can make a pretty good sandwich.
We've got East Indian heritage, we've got Egyptian, and we've got Iranian heritage here. So I'm sure
all of the flavors in those sandwiches. All the different types of bread.
That I know the bread part would be probably
we got to bring on an Italian on the show or something.
Well, we're thrilled to have you all along for the ride. Don't forget to follow, leave a review, and share this podcast with your friends, colleagues, and anyone who might find it interesting. What business would you start if you had $10 million to do it? Well, until next time, stay curious, stay compassionate, and stay engaged with the ever-evolving world of healthcare.
Catch you all next time, friends and curious minds. Take care.
See you next time.